guys, welcome to the School of Rockstars. Today in the episode of Think Like a Rockstar, we're going to think like Jordan Peterson.
What's really interesting about the Old Testament is that, and the Jews in the Old Testament, is that they don't take the path of Cain. Every time they're walloped by God, which is like fairly frequently, they say, we must have done something wrong and we have to set ourselves right. And that's an unbelievably heroic attitude, because that's the alternative to cursing fate. It's like you take the responsibility for failure onto yourself, and you think, well, if I just had my act together a little bit more, if I took advantage of every opportunity that was put in front of me, if I wasn't resentful and bitter, then I could have done something that would have tilted the situation in a different direction. And like, that's almost inevitably true. Dostoevsky, I think, said something like, every man is responsible for everything that happens to him and everything that happens to everyone else. And that's, it's a crazy statement, right? It's a crazy statement. And he was a pretty extreme person in many, many ways. But there's a level at which that's metaphysically true, because what happens is that it's failure to act often that's the most catastrophic. It's to not do the right thing when the situation presents itself, and it's very specific. You're constantly in situations where you could do the right thing if you were willing to take a risk that's actually of relatively moderate size. And you know that you could take the risk, and you know that you should take the risk, and you don't. And that happens to people all the time. And then what happens is the thing that they didn't oppose grows a little bit, and they shrink a little bit.
He says you need to take responsibility of your life. You need to take ownership. You need to take responsibility. If you start, the moment you start taking responsibility, that is the moment you start winning your life. That is the moment you get confidence on yourself that you can change something. Take responsibility. Great leaders take responsibility. So they don't blame the society around them. They don't blame the presidents or the prime ministers of their country. They don't blame the economy. They'll take the responsibility of their life, and they'll take the responsibility of their business. They'll take the responsibility of what's happening surrounding them. That's what great leaders do. When in their business, if they succeed, they give credit to all of the team members. They don't take that ownership by themselves. They'll give it to all the team members. But the great leaders, what they do is, if something goes wrong, if something fails, then what the great leaders does is they'll step forward, they'll come forward, and they'll take the responsibility of it. The moment they take that responsibility, then there is a chance for them to change something, to make the difference, to create an impact. That's what you have to learn from them. Learn from your heroes. Learn from the legendary persons that you see them. If there is one person that you love in cinema, learn from their story. They didn't become that big in one day. They have gone through many experiences. Learn from their biographies. Learn from their interviews. You have to think like them. Not exactly think like them, but learn the lessons that they implemented, or you can learn because everybody can't find all the experiences in their life at once. So if you learn from their lives or the biographies or from their interviews at one point of time in your life, it will help you for sure. You need to take, that's what I'm learning continuously. I'm speaking to people in my community around me, and also trying to speak and trying to learn from the interviews of great personalities, great legends in all respective fields. So you need to take responsibility of your life. That's what Oprah says, Jordan Peterson, every great personality says. The moment you should not blame the government, you should not blame the economy when something goes wrong. You should take the responsibility of that. The thing, I can tell you one instance, if you are running a business, and if one of the customer email your company saying that I have a doubt in your company policy, then most of the time what our that emails, our team members take care of that emails. But when you are in a small group or when you are in a small business, as a business owner, you need to answer them, because sometimes our team members feel that struggle to tell you. They have that feel of if I reply something wrong, what they think or what my business owner think, then at that time you should answer them. You should answer them, because when you answer them, the employee of your company, they feel some safe, they feel like my boss, he feels some comfort and safe in your company. And also at that moment you also clears the customer's issue. If there is something wrong, customer won't be your customer, be the client for your business, but no problem, you have to clear them, you have to answer them. If you do reply late, then it's your problem. So you need to take responsibilities in your life. I can tell one example that one instance happened in my life. A few days back, I had a hard conversation with one of my family member. So I tried to explain the pain I have gone through, and she's not willing to listen. But after that, what I speak to myself is, I took a journal, I journal every morning. So on that day, I went from office, I went to home, and I took a journal and I wrote all the thoughts that running in my mind at that moment, and what are the ways I can solve this, because I took that responsibility, because I don't want to break that relation just for that silly conversation that happened between us. So when I took that responsibility and I wrote all the thoughts that ran in my mind, so from at that moment I thought I can change this, or I can take that responsibility and I can control the situation to not to happen another time, the same situation. So what I wrote is in my mind at that moment, what I want to uninstall one of the social media, WhatsApp. I use WhatsApp to communicate with them. So at that moment I really felt I want to uninstall it. And also I also thought of myself, am I speaking right, or am I telling them correctly, or why they are understanding me wrong, or they're not understanding my communication. The problem is, when I'm trying to explain something to her, she is feeling that as an argument, but I'm not at all arguing with her, just explaining. So I don't know what she is thinking. That's what I wrote. And also wrote why when some person is explaining why the other person is not trying to listen, is there like what is the communication gap? And also these are the thoughts that ran in my mind at that particular moment. And also I wrote some of the solutions for to control that, that to not to happen in the future. So what I thought is like, I don't want to extend the conversations with that particular person. I just want to have like a short conversations and happy conversations. That's what I'm doing, like from that day onwards. I'm making the conversation short and crispy. So that worked. And also what I did is like, I am calling to her when somebody is like around her. That's what I did. Like these were the two things. And I already told you that I got that moment of uninstalling that WhatsApp thing, but I didn't, because that is the tool I used to speak to my family. So I didn't do that, but I changed some other things that really helped me to change my mood, because like because of that hot conversation, my mood, like I got really felt low for almost 3 or 4 days. So like I took that responsibility at that particular time. Then my mind, it told to me like, you can change the situation because you took that responsibility. If something goes wrong in your, it is applicable to everywhere in your life. If you're a business person, if something goes wrong or right, you need to take that responsibility. Like it is not that important. If something goes right, you need to take that. But for sure, if something goes wrong with any other person, if some of your, like if any one of your team member does something wrong, you need to take that responsibility, because you are the owner, not like the paperwork, right? But if you take that responsibility as a surface level, you feel that as a high level burden, like, but when you start taking actions, you will feel relaxed, and you will feel the actions that I don't know how to express this, but when you are trying to change something, or when you are trying to take some actions to solve that problem, it will surely, like it will move forward, like it will give you a success in your life. You should do that everywhere in your life. Take responsibility and take ownership. You should not blame anyone. You should not blame your parents. You should not blame your family. You should not blame your surroundings. It's your life. You need to take care of it. Don't be a victim of your life. Be a rock star.